Vice President Kamala Harris is in Mexico this morning to meet with the country's president. She's visiting the region as part of a White House effort to address the root causes of immigration to the U.S. Ed O'Keefe is in Guatemala City, where the vice president visited yesterday, and we're hearing the administration has announced new initiatives surrounding these issues.
That's right, Anne-Marie. Good morning. Good to see you again from Guatemala here. The Biden administration announcing plans to more aggressively target what it calls transnational crimes, things like drug trafficking and human trafficking, or those people that help guide immigrants across the U.S.-Mexico border. They're also going to be pushing to promote legal immigration from Central America and Mexico. All of this coming as she prepares for another big day of meetings in Mexico. Vice President Kamala Harris arrived in Mexico last night. Before arriving, she said the focus is on bolstering a partnership with our next-door neighbors. Harris is continuing her first foreign trip since taking office, a tour that included a stern warning to would-be illegal migrants.
Do not come. Do not come.
Hoping to alleviate poverty and crime that drives many to make the trek north, the Biden administration has committed more than $300 million to the region.
I have asked you what would bring the people of Guatemala hope.
As Harris met with civic and business leaders, she announced that the Departments of Homeland Security and Justice are launching a new task force targeting transnational crimes like human trafficking. And across Central America, the State Department will begin promoting legal ways to immigrate to the U.S. But she's also using the trip to raise concerns with corruption across Central America. Do you consider the governments of El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, or any other in this region to be corrupt?
So, on the issue of corruption, the conversation that I had with President Kamala today was very frank and very candid, and I think this is a quality that he and I appreciate in each other.
I pressed Guatemalan President Alejandro Yamatei about critics who say that when it comes to corruption, he's part of the problem.
How many cases of corruption have I been accused of? I can give you the answer to that. 0.
Back in Washington, Republicans like Senator Lindsey Graham question if the renewed American investment in Mexico and Central America is worth it.
I think the money alone won't fix that problem. People are going to keep coming by the hundreds of thousands until we change our laws.
There's a new government report out this morning that suggests up to 2,100 immigrant children may not yet have been reunited with their families as part of the Trump administration's family separation policy that ended earlier this year. The report acknowledges that some of those children may have actually reunited with relatives, but the government has no record of that. And DHS says it plans to help reunite another 29 families, Anne-Marie, in the coming weeks.
Very well. Let's get on it because the numbers right now are pretty embarrassing. What's ahead for the vice president in Mexico today? What's the schedule like?
So she's in Mexico City. She'll meet with Andrés Manuel López Obrador, that country's still pretty popular president. They've just crossed the midterm point. His party lost a few seats in the National Congress over the weekend, so he may face questions from Mexican reporters about that. She'll hold meetings there in central Mexico City with women entrepreneurs and with labor leaders. Plans to also spend time with reporters reflecting on the last 2 days. This is her first big high-stakes overseas trip. A lot of reflection on the fact that she's the first female vice president to represent the country around the world. And you know, her aides continue to point out, Anne-Marie, this is merely the beginning of a project that will continue for her in the coming years. This is not meant to be some kind of a capstone of something that she's going to move on from and on to other issues.
You mentioned in your piece this task force to tackle transnational crime. I presume that means trafficking, but maybe it's other things. Do we have any insight into how that might work?
Well, it's a combination of the Departments of Homeland Security and Justice. They have some overlapping responsibilities in this space, obviously. The idea is to get all the various U.S. attorneys' offices across the country that may deal with human smuggling, drug trafficking crimes, get them to better coordinate and work potentially with prosecutors in this country, Guatemala, to root out some of this. When we spoke with Guatemala's president over the weekend, he said, I'd love to see the U.S. Congress pass laws that make it far more illegal, far tougher for these so-called coyotes to continue moving people into the United States, and that he would gladly extradite them as quickly as possible to face charges in the U.S. He says while he could change the laws of Guatemala, he doesn't control the entire justice system, and so sending them to the United States, where the teeth are a little sharper and bigger, might actually dissuade people from getting into that kind of work.
So obviously this business of undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration, it's messy. The vice president is tasked with looking into the root causes to sort of stop the people from coming. But there's also the issue of what's happening at the border. How are people housed? How are children reunited with their parents? And all of that sort of stuff. So, President Biden has certainly faced a lot of criticism from Republicans over how he's handling immigration. I'm wondering if any of that criticism is having an impact on the relationship that this administration is having with Mexico or Guatemala.
No, we haven't picked up on any of that so far, at least. Again, going back to our conversation with the Guatemalan president, he said, in essence, there was a change in message during the switchover from the Trump to the Biden administrations, and that there was this general sense that suddenly immigrant families could come. That was the misperception, he said, but it was exploited by human traffickers. That's why they encouraged U.S. officials to make sure it was clear that you shouldn't be going, and that's why you heard the vice president yesterday say what she did so explicitly and remind people that if they come, they very well are probably going to get turned away, although we'll see about that. She was asked again, as she has been before, whether she will ever go to the U.S.-Mexico border, as Republicans have been pushing her to do so as part of their attempts to discredit her work on this issue and, discredit her generally because they know that she's likely a future political rival. She would not answer yet again whether she has plans to go, and made clear that she's looking at this issue in a far broader scope and one that includes visits to Latin America. She said she will be back here in the region at some point to continue these conversations, but wanted to make clear to the region that it's an important one for the Biden administration and one that she'll be in touch with on a regular basis. They also point out that this is, in essence, the start of foreign policy week or weeks for the administration. She's getting back late tonight, but the president then heads tomorrow to Europe for a series of bilateral and multilateral talks with European allies and, of course, the Russian President Vladimir Putin.
All right, it's busy. Ed O'Keefe, thank you very much.